Coming to you from the M&M Exterior Studio in Knoxville, Virginia, this is Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle, the introvert's extrovert. She talks to people so you don't have to. For now.
Welcome back to Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle. I am here with my guest, Heather Gardner. Yeah. Woo. I always feel like I need a cheering section when I introduce my guest because yes, thank you, Jeremy. Slow clap. Oh gosh, so loud. Heather, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Appreciate you. Heather is a business owner. Actually, Heather, why don't we jump in and I'm going to start with the hardest question first. Who is Heather Gardner? That always stumps everybody.
I am, who am I?
I know. See, I'm telling you, it's the hardest question.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I run Shore Staffing, which is a nursing agency, and we provide nurse staffing for Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia, into long-term care facilities, hospitals, and schools. I love my job.
Yeah.
I love giving back to our community. I love, giving majority of single mothers a place where they have the freedom to make their own schedules and be there for their children.
Yeah. So you're a business owner. You're a mom to two.
Yes, I am.
Adultish.
I am a mom to two. Noah is 21 and Peggy is 15.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And I would say you're just probably pretty much a badass. That's how I would describe you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, girl. Yes.
My boyfriend calls me a badass.
Well, see, I knew what I was talking about. Podcasts are a place for truth. So, girl, I got you. So I wanted to chat with you because one thing you did since this past February. So, oh my gosh, tomorrow it'll be a year.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, how perfect. So 1 year ago tomorrow.
Yes.
And so by the time this airs, it'll already be your 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
What happened February 1st?
I was attending WIN, our women's networking group, and I met Amber Valentine, and she owns Scale the Limit. And I had made a decision. I was feeling really unhealthy. I was feeling, not good. I was in a toxic relationship. I just was not in a good point in my life. So I made the decision to join Scale the Limit, and I have totally transformed my mind, body, and soul, and both inner and outer.
That is
self.
awesome. That is awesome.
So yeah, I'm down 108 pounds.
Wow, yay! That's awesome. And you know what? I've seen you over last year, and it's been fun to see your journey. But what I've told you every single time, and why I wanted to talk today to you, is that the outside transformation is great. I'm happy for you and your health and things like that. But the internal transformation is what I saw. The amount of joy exuding from you, that is contagious. It's something that needs to be shared. And so I said, I bet you have learned a lot over the last year. I bet you've learned a lot.
Boy, have I ever.
Yes. So jumping into that. So Scale the Limit, it's a mindful weight loss company, right? Because it focuses not just on losing weight, but changing the inner along with the outer.
Yes.
So
doing daily affirmations, meditation, and then really focusing on the foods that make you feel good. And clearly carbs, dairy, and sugar do not make me feel good.
Got it. Yes.
And it just provides such mental clarity now that I'm just so thankful.
That's awesome. That's great. So we talked before about, okay, when you go through a life change like that, it's pretty huge.
Yes.
And there's a lot of life lessons to take out of that. So why don't you let's start with when you said you were not in a great place. You described that February 1st. You met Amber. What was that thing that made it click? Like they say you don't change, nothing changes till something changes, and you have to be sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
Yes.
But was there something that was like, I'm doing it now?
Yeah, I just had this overall, Heather, you've got to change something now. The
sense of urgency.
The sense of urgency. You've given to everybody else around you. It's now time for you to really focus on and help you feel good because you look like crap. I felt like crap. I just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so I was done. There's always going to be that birthday cake. There's always going to be, something that you've had that's going to come up. But really, let's put Heather first now, and let's really focus on really finding out what makes her feel good.
Wow.
And so I got rid of food in my house that were triggers for me. I kept snacks and stuff for my kids in the house that were their favorites, but did not trigger me. Like I'm not really a cracker, cheese, a chip person. I'm more of a sweet chocolate person. So I just really, really tried to do what was best for me and plan my meals and, did them on Sundays and had them all planned out, and nothing was going to deter my success. And I just really knew something had to change immediately.
Yeah. What was one of the first, so you mentioned already, the change in food. I would say that's the most drastic, external thing.
Yes.
And changing your food. What was the first shift for an internal thing?
My boyfriend at the time decided that he wanted to teach me a lesson and broke up with me on Valentine's Day. And so I was, of course,
I'm shocked. My silence, just so the listeners know, my face was like, excuse me, what? Teach you a lesson? That already right there. I'm not happy with that.
Yes. And so, he broke up with me on Valentine's Day, and I, knowing that holidays are very important to me and I'm very sentimental, and I really never looked back. I was like, you know what? You don't deserve to have me in your life if you're going to be that cruel to somebody. And, of course, he came begging back 3 days later, and I was like, I'm in a different place now, and I don't need you anymore to tell me how I'm going to live my life, and I don't need you anymore to be happy. I'm going to be happy internally for me, and I need to focus on me now.
Do you feel like before that your happiness depended on his happiness?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And the negative thoughts he would, put into my internal self, it just wasn't healthy. And I knew it. I just wasn't listening to my gut.
What about, so this was only 2 weeks into your mind shift.
14 days.
14 days. And so what was it about, you think, those 2 weeks, the mindset shift? What was it about the mindset shift over those 2 weeks that made you say, when he, quote, taught you a lesson, that you said,
I had proven to myself I'd made it 14 days. I was not cheating. I was not giving in. I didn't need the sugar.
You are capable. You are enough. Yes.
I am enough. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a badass.
Yes.
And
see?
finally put myself first. And so it just made me more angry than anything. I was like, you know what? You're not going to control me anymore. I am enough exactly the way I am.
Yes. And I'm sorry you went through that, but I'm so grateful that were able to walk away from that. And I love what I was just thinking about when you were talking was, it is amazing how when we prove to ourselves through small goals, it can have bigger impact.
Correct.
And I remember Oprah, she's, because I used to watch Oprah.
Me too, religiously. She was my church.
My therapy. Yeah. She talked about when you set goals and you don't reach them, you're continually lying to yourself or defeating yourself, or I forget how she said it, but it talks down yourself. It works on your self-talk so that you're constantly beating yourself down.
Yes.
And so when you start having small wins, you start being accountable to yourself, and then your self-talk changes where I am enough. I can do this.
Yes.
I don't need you to, I don't need your happiness to affect my happiness.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What a big shift.
It was a huge shift.
Yeah.
Huge. And I'm so grateful for that life lesson and opportunity.
So let me ask you, side note, were you praying before that for that relationship, like for it to improve and things like that?
Absolutely, I was. I had put it out there. I had really prayed, this something isn't right. Please help me make the decision that's best for me. And poof. Wow. I put it out there, and my aunts, I may not have been the one that ended it. Yeah. And that's okay.
Totally. But that may have been what you needed, where you weren't in a place to actually end it. But once he did it, it was like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm so thankful.
Yes.
So thankful for that life lesson.
Wow. Within 2 weeks, that's crazy. So with the whole journey in general, what's one takeaway you'd have from this whole journey?
To love with your whole heart, not only others, but yourself. Truly love yourself and be happy and content with yourself and all the many wonderful gifts that you have inside yourself that you can bring to not only others, but your children, your loved ones, and taking a chance at love again.
Now, how did you get there? How did you find, what is loving with your whole heart look like? What does loving you look like? And then what does loving others look like with your whole heart?
Loving myself is making good food choices, knowing, hey, you know what? I really already know what that tastes like. So I don't need to have that anymore because that's just not good for me.
Yeah.
Of course you can have splurges.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
it's a mindful splurge. It's not the mindless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I have a very big moment coming up in 2 weeks. My now boyfriend, we've been together for 8 months now, surprised me and is taking me to New York for Valentine's Day weekend. Yay! And we're going to take the train and we're staying in Manhattan and, it's like he's planned a year.
What a year. What a year from last Valentine's to this Valentine's. Yes. Praise God.
Yes. I'm so thankful and I'm so excited and I've never been happier.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know I'm going to, have some splurges for that weekend and I deserve it.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to it. And just being with someone that you love with your whole heart and not being afraid to be hurt because you're only holding yourself back. I never knew I could love again. Like I've never loved like this before. I can't even see love again because it's a whole new bright, shiny, glittery love that I feel like my heart's going to explode sometimes.
Do you think and it might be the cliche, but probably true, where you can't love others till you love yourself?
I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But truly, I've never met a kinder soul in my life.
Oh, that's great.
Truly a good, kind, loving man. That doesn't have an ulterior motive. That's not there trying to teach you lessons about, well, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. Who needs that? So just love and be who you are. And if it's working, great. You know what? And if it's not, that's okay too. I'm thankful for the time that we were together.
Exactly. Yeah. You can just live in the moment, right? And that's what we're all, with all this mindfulness that we talk about, it's all about living in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So loving with your whole heart.
Yes.
And you mentioned before we started recording about taking chances. What does taking chances look like?
To specifically take chances, like, go on, first put yourself together as best you know how.
What makes you feel good? Yeah. Right.
Doing what makes you feel good, making mindful choices, and then not being, afraid to go on a blind date or, open your heart again or go out with your friends. You know what? You might be in your house all the time on the couch watching television.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, just go out and try something new. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You go home and you didn't have a good time?
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you at least smiled once that evening. Just go take a chance and go,
You deserve to be happy.
You deserve to be happy and do something that makes you happy and live a little. You know what? Go try a horseback riding class or go do some yoga or go do something that makes you happy. Go join a book club if you like to read. Just put yourself out there. Join Team Win. You know?
Yeah.
Just, if you're in your house all day or if you're at your job all day, just try something new.
I love that.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. See, who needs to hear that kick in the butt? Don't be afraid. If you're listening to this and you're afraid, you just heard Heather, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Take a chance.
Exactly.
So with losing 100 pounds, I know people are listening and they're like, okay, she kind of mentioned, these are the foods that didn't work for her.
Yes.
Now everyone's body is different. Consult your doctor before trying anything. But what are just a couple quick tips? Because you mentioned before too, about listening to your body. You really learned to listen. I think the first one, listen to your heart.
Yes.
Listen to your body.
Yes.
So what does listening to your body look like to you? So as I said, this might not work for everyone.
Right.
But what does it look like for Heather to listen to her body?
Well, if you put something in your mouth that, let's say a Cheez-It, and I'm sorry for the Cheez-It makers out there, but my kids love them. That's great. when I eat them, there's so much stuff in it. If when I wake up the next morning, my body hurts.
And are your hands swollen
My
and your
hands
rings
are
don't fit because of the
swollen.
sodium?
Yes. And I feel achy. This is how I felt before I started Scale Limit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I have to get out of bed. You know, the pains, the aches, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Taking one step at a time down my stairs in the morning from my bedroom to the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now I wake up, pop out of bed, and I'm like raring to go, and I can run down the stairs, and I'm like, bring it.
That's awesome. To have that energy.
So, yeah,
That's
it's
great.
You know, so really listen to what foods make you feel bad. If they make you feel bad, don't eat them. I love cheese, but cheese doesn't sit well with me anymore. I don't know if I've, now have a dairy intolerance or whatever. It just, I feel gross.
Yeah.
I don't eat it very much anymore. You know, there's some goat cheese that I can have that my body likes, but cheddar and all the other stuff that's from a cow, no.
No good.
No good for me.
Did you keep a food journal when you started reintroducing foods?
I did.
Yeah.
I totally did. And you know when something doesn't set well. You know within the first 15 minutes
it's your stomach.
Wrong.
If you're wondering, guys, what we're talking about, it's your stomach. Okay? If your stomach is a rumbling, if you have to find a bathroom.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Flushing it out.
I'm just saying, if you got to find a bathroom, that did not sit well with you. Okay?
Exactly.
Water break, girl. Get it.
And really pound the water.
Yeah. Drink the water. It's good for you.
Yes.
Did you learn anything else about your body through, you figured out the foods that weren't good for you. So journal. And that's why I really encourage everyone to keep the food journal because I think there's some, universal things. Jeremy's chugging his huge water right now. There's some universal things that work for everyone, but of course there's things that don't. So definitely food journal.
Yes.
Drinking the water.
Yes.
Anything else?
Just stay away from the center aisles of the grocery store. It's really huge.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
It really is. Like anything that has carbs in it or sugar or added sugar in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Added sugar is no good.
Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I love bread like the next person, but I haven't had it in so long that when I do indulge, it doesn't really taste the same.
Yeah.
Sugar does not taste the same when you don't have it for a long time.
Well, the best thing when you cut out sugar is it makes fruit taste so crazy sweet. You're like, I remember eating an apple after cutting sugar out of my diet for a while, and I ate an apple, and I was like, oh, this apple is so good. Just for the listeners, I'm rubbing my fingers on my face because I was just so in love with my apple.
Yes. And I have a half apple with most of my, after my meals.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
For a little sweet something?
Yes. A little sweet something, and it is, or berries. And it's the world of difference.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yummy. All right. So you listened to your heart.
Yep.
You listened to your body.
Listen to my gut.
Love that. And last, how have you listened to your mind over the last year?
If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If your gut is screaming at you, Heather, that's really not okay. Or, I don't feel that person and I, really jive that well. So I will be your friend, but I'm not going to pick up the phone to call you to go above and beyond.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. I'm setting boundaries now. And
we're going to do an episode on boundaries because everybody needs to hear about the boundaries.
And it's, I thought, what, just be kind. Of course, be kind to everybody.
Yes.
But you don't have to
be a doormat.
Exactly. And allow people to walk all over you. And I was very good at that. I just wanted everyone to like me, and I was willing to do whatever it took for, to make them happy. Well, you know what? My happiness is just as important.
Yeah.
If not more important, because
for you to be the best you can be.
Yes. And be there for my children, be there for my loved ones, be there for myself. Yes.
And your dad said, what did your dad tell you?
My whole life. It's the do what's right and fear no one.
And what does that mean?
It means,
for you?
For me, it means to always do the right thing no matter what. And don't be afraid to do the right thing, to stick up for yourself or for anyone else for that matter. Do what's right and fear no one. I was afraid in my other relationships. I was afraid to really stand up for myself. I was afraid of being afraid. And I was afraid of them. And I didn't, I was willing to be a doormat and, okay, fine, walk all over me. But truly, what purpose is that serving? Like, you're not happy. If you're not happy internally, you're not happy to the people that you love around you. And, I wanted my kids to be happy. So I would do anything for them, and I still would. But now that they see that their mother is truly happy and seeing the light in their eyes is back now, and they're just so thankful, and they're just such different people now that I am truly happy. And they know, your kids know when you're really not happy. Let's just face it. And they're trying to navigate their lives themselves. And, I wanted them to know that, number one, it's not okay to be loved that way. And each of my relationships before. And I didn't want them to think that was healthy and natural.
Yeah. Set that example for them. Yeah.
Yes. So now they see, oh my goodness. They're just like,
what a difference.
Who knew that this life was possible like this before?
We talked before about, what has changed over the last year.
Yes.
And that's what we've been talking about. And one of the things is like you started focusing on you. And what I want to point out is because in a lot of the stuff I've been reading lately and whatnot is, my belief system. And so whatever a listener's is, that we're called to be selfless and serve others and things like that. But what I love about hearing to your story is that I think a lot of times things get twisted where it's that, oh, if you focus on you, you're being selfish and not selfless. But you see how when you set boundaries and you live with your priorities in order and, take care of yourself, you're able to then be a better parent and a better servant and serve people the best way possible. Because how can you serve others if you are a doormat?
Exactly.
Then you're just stuck on the floor,
Right.
And so by kind of saying, I am worthy, I was created for a reason. I'm meant for more. I'm enough.
Yes, I am enough.
Yeah.
Exactly the way I am now.
Exactly.
And I've always been. It's like Dorothy with the ruby slippers.
Yes.
You always had,
the magic in you or the power in you. My kids are doing Wizard of Oz, so come see it in March. Get that quote right.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
You've always
it was always
had
inside of you or
yes,
something. Yeah.
Yes. You were all, you always had the power.
Yeah.
You just didn't know it. And now I feel like, at 47 years old, 46, 47, I always had it. I thought I knew it, but I truly didn't.
Yeah.
I truly didn't really know. And I'm so thankful that I do now.
So you've already mentioned it, but just for a takeaway for your kids, the best part, I think, is that you are being honest with yourself, which allows you to be honest with your kids.
Yes.
And so much of life, I feel like, is, we talk a lot about the external image we present. And then, even I think we do that within families with our kids because we want to protect them and this and that. But at the same time, there's things that need to be addressed because you don't want them to either make the same mistakes you did or to be taken advantage of. And so what I see for you, like, it's so inspiring that, you started being honest with you with stuff and working out your own stuff. And just simply by working out your own stuff, they're able to see that and work their stuff out without you having to just do it. Does that make sense?
It does. And, my son comes to me often with, whatever's going on in his life. And I can use specific examples and he's like, oh, and I can be completely authentic with him. And if I see something that's not authentic in him and that is his best life, I can point it out and he's like, you know what? You're right.
And I bet it comes from a place of trust because he sees that,
that we've been through so much together as a family and my children are, I'm divorced and I was in a very unhappy marriage. And 3 times before I left my husband, my son had come to me and said, Mom, why why are you with Dad? He's not mean to you. I mean, he's not nice to you, and he's really not nice to us either. Mm-hmm. And so that click, that light bulb moment where you think that you're protecting them and you're staying together for the family, and you want this, you since birth, or since a little girl, you've had this image of a perfect family with the white picket fence, which we had, and 2.5 children, and it was all a lie. Mm-hmm. I mean, we weren't happy. Mm-hmm. It was, I didn't want my kids to think that was okay. I wanted them to be themselves. I wanted them to know what real love was. And, and that's what's happened over the course of the last, since 2010.
Wow. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey these last 10 years. It's been 10 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Huge. And even this last year.
Yeah. And making a decision, and you never, I bet, last February 1st, now to this February 1st.
Yes.
Would never have imagined the journey.
Reality now has exceeded my expectations. I dreamed, but I didn't know the dream would really be that sweet. I didn't really know that life could be so amazing. I didn't really know that there is this man out there that really is kind and loving and authentic. And and my kids are happy. I never in a million years really knew that I could live a life like this.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful.
That's awesome. So if someone is on the verge, they're like, I want to take a chance, whether it's losing weight, whether it's, improving their mental health or getting out of a toxic relationship or something. Mm-hmm. What is the thing, if there is something to just plant a seed, what would you want to share with them?
Listen to your gut.
Listen to your gut.
And listen to your friends. I had many friends that said, Heather, this isn't okay. Mm-hmm. The way you're being treated really isn't okay. And, you do that self-talk to yourself, this is all I deserve. I'm afraid there's not going to be anybody else out there that's, going to be this great, but really not this great. It's really more like terrible.
It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing and being alone.
Yeah, you don't want the better than nothing life.
Yeah. And you know what? Being alone is okay. I spent, a lot of time alone.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm my own best friend too.
Yeah.
Being alone is better than being someone that's toxic. Let me just say that.
Yeah, that is a quote. You know what? That's your moment, Heather. Say that one more time.
Being alone is 1,000 times better than being in a relationship that's toxic.
Amen.
Because you can treat yourself well. Exactly the way you are.
I love that.
And love yourself enough to not settle for anything less than love and kindness and respect. Yes. Oh my God, the respect.
Yes.
You can respect yourself by being alone.
And you know what? You mentioned something. I asked you about it, but we were talking about earlier is that I asked you, were you praying for that relationship? And I was, just to reiterate, is that, because when I heard you talk, what made me think was you were praying about, your past toxic relationship. You were praying about your toxic marriage. And it's funny because, sometimes we think a prayer is answered in a certain way. I love this. There's a joke, and it's, a man, his house is flooding and he's on the roof, as the water rises, and he's praying to God, God, please save me from this storm. And, a canoe comes by and they're like, hey, get in. He's like, no, God will save me. And so then, the waters keep rising, and then, a helicopter comes by, and they're like, come on. And he's like, no, I believe God will save me. And so they go on. And the waters rise and the man dies. He gets to heaven and he's like, God, I believed you were going to save me. Why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you a canoe and a helicopter. Why didn't you get in them? And I feel like I heard that story when I was young, and it's kind of stuck with me that man, you think it's going to look one way, so if you were think, okay, I'm praying for this to be improved, this situation, whatever it could be, I'm praying for this. It might look totally different than you were expecting.
Oh, yes.
But my personal belief, like I believe good will be made from it, you know? And,
Yes.
And so having those friends that are looking out for you and having, you know, people. So it's like, if there's something on your heart, you're trying to make a change, you know, if there's people in your life who are supporting you, you know, going back to your thing about have no fear, you know, and take chances, like walk towards that, because if it's meant to be, I believe the door will open in that direction. And, you know, and if not, but
My door shut. And
yeah. Thank goodness.
slammed in my face. Woo. Hallelujah.
Praise God on that. Praise God on that.
Thank you, Jesus.
I just feel like that's like a rom-com movie right there. I think you might need to write a script for a movie, because just the opening of Valentine's Day, just
I know how
crazy.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a heartless jerk.
Well, and I also want, you know, for listeners, and if it's not you, if it's someone you know, when anyone lives a life of, I'm going to teach you a lesson, you don't need that person in your life.
No.
So.
No. Yeah.
I appreciate you being willing to share so much. I mean, you're a badass. You're a
Thank
badass.
you.
You have been on a
Thank you.
journey.
I have, and I'm so
on a
looking
journey.
forward to Valentine's Day this year.
That's awesome. What a motivation. So if there's something you have not been doing, people, like, you got to rip that Band-Aid off.
Oh gosh, rip
Make
it
that
off.
change. Make that change. Make that change.
Make that change.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Heather. If you want to find Heather, how can people find you?
You can find me at shorestaffing.com, SHORE staffing.com, Heather Gardner, and my email, heather@shorestaffing.com.
Awesome.
Or you can find me on Facebook, Heather Gardner. I could put my cell phone out there.
No. Girl, man. Whoa. You might be getting hit up too much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes. Boundaries.
Boundaries. Exactly. I'm like, girl, no, stop. I know I have my cell phone everywhere. I'm like, I might need to get a new cell phone number, because like everybody has that. I might just have to like lock it up. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. You, think I would say you've had a unique journey, but I think just the journey of self-discovery is pretty inspiring.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing, Heather.
My pleasure.
Yay!
And that's a wrap for now.
Thanks for listening to Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle. Music provided by twinmusicom.org. Song titled Night at the Dance Hall. Sound editing by me, Jeremy Spittle. A special thanks to our studio sponsor, M&M Exteriors. Visit their website at mmexteriors.com for all of your roofing, siding, and gutter needs in the Northern Virginia area. Visit our website at flushingitout.com and be sure to subscribe. This has been a Spitfire production.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Don't forget to check out the after show on the Full Flush bonus episode, where Samantha and I continue the conversation with our guest. You can find the Full Flush episode right here on Flushing It Out every Friday.